As the theme song goes, lucky there's a Family Guy. Oh yes, in this edition of WatchMojo's Deep Dive, we're going to be putting the spotlight on Seth MacFarlane's dysfunctional animated family extraordinaire, the Griffins. Peter, Lois, Meg, Chris, Brian, and Stewie have had their share of memorable outings. And lucky for us, WatchMojo ranked them. Take a look.
Hi there, I'm Peter Griffin, and you're watching PTV.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 Family Guy episodes.
You see, I'm a family guy.
I understand. I'm The Simpsons.
For this list, we'll be looking at the greatest, funniest, and most impactful episodes of Seth MacFarlane's animated sitcom. What was your favorite episode of Family Guy? Are there any we missed? Number 20. E Peterbus Unum. Just like the title, out of the many, this episode stands as a prime example of the golden age of Family Guy.
Wait a second, if everybody respects you, how come you're still eating here by yourself?
I don't shower.
After Peter tries and fails to get a pool put in his backyard, he discovers that his house sits on land that isn't a part of the United States. So, Peter declares his house a new country called Peetoria.
I was gonna call it Peterland, but that gay bar down by the airport already took it.
The episode revels in Peter's overzealous new ruling of his country and the government's overreaction to such a small and insignificant power. Plus, we get a fun little parody of President Clinton ordering around his subordinates while naked. You can't touch this episode.
Can't touch me.
Number 19. Family Guy Viewer Mail Episodes. When a show runs out of ideas, sometimes you have to ask the audience. Well, the Griffin family didn't even have to ask. With mountains of mail arriving, Brian and Stewie share a few letters in these special episodes. This paves the way for several short stories with concepts that might not have been considered before. They include seeing things from Stewie's point of view, Peter having his strange wishes granted, and even the Griffin family getting superpowers.
Is that all you can do? Ow! That kind of hurt.
All of these suggested situations lead to interesting and side-splitting scenarios, and we're ever grateful that the Griffins answered. Number 18. The Thin White Line. While Family Guy focuses on making viewers laugh, sometimes the writers show that they can also tackle a serious subject or two. Brian's in a bit of a rut, so when he gets offered to be a sniffer dog for the police department, he jumps at the offer. This new enforcer of the law excels, bringing down many comedically themed crime outfits, including a fake Sunday school classroom. But on top of the crazy buddy cop scenarios that Joe and Brian end up in, the episode takes a real look at misusing power and addiction.
Wow, Brian, have you lost weight? You gotta tell me your secret.
Here's a hint. Put down the fork. Face!
The dog gets sent to rehab and parts ways with the family, setting the stage for another amazing Brian episode in Hollywood.
So this is some kind of shampoo commercial, right?
Number 17. P-Terminator. As the show got on in years, it became more adventurous with its parodies, and by far one of the most kick-ass episodes was the homage to James Cameron's Terminator franchise. Stewie gets upset when Lois serves broccoli for dinner, so he designs a Peter-looking robot for revenge. But then, that same robot travels back in time to kill Stewie.
Da-da-da-da-da. 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 Da-da-da-da-da.
The time travel antics are a little complicated towards the end, but there's plenty of action and laughs to be had along the way. Plus, we get a bad-to-the-bone rendition of Surfin' Bird.
Bird. Bird is a word.
And a quick jab at Rick and Morty as the icing on the cake.
That's not your normal time pad. Where'd you get that? I borrowed it from Rick and Morty.
Number 16. Yugly Math. Stewie's technological shenanigans always lead to some of the series' most interesting episodes. When Brian uses Stewie's time machine to pick up women, his meddling causes it to malfunction, leading time to reverse at an accelerating rate. Infamous moments from across Family Guy history play out in front of our eyes in updated, albeit backwards animation. From Peter falling down the stairs to the infamous puking scene to an epic chicken fight. Yes, there are some really gross out moments here, but it lets us relive some classic jokes while also adding a new layer of comedy. Number 15. McStroke. When you hear Family Guy gave Peter a stroke, you can't help but double take. They did what?
Peter, sweetheart, how do you feel?
Had better days, Lois.
After Peter grows a mustache and gets mistaken for a fireman, he loses the stash but is rewarded with infinite burgers. This results in him having a stroke, leaving his left side paralyzed. He then goes around trying to live his normal life to mixed results. There are some great, but also farcical jokes in this episode, including Peter slamming his arm in a car door.
Lois?
Yeah?
Peter's getting in the car.
Family Guy is not afraid to tackle sensitive topics, and they hit a home run with this one. Number 14. I Dream of Jesus. Don't you know about this episode? Surely everybody's heard.
Heard what? Brian, don't!
After Peter's favorite song gets broken, he visits a record store and finds Jesus Christ. Literally. This episode is full of amazing gags, from outrageous miracles to an incredibly accurate Jay Leno impression to the unforgettable shot-for-shot remake of the printer scene from Office Space. This episode never misses a beat, and it shocked a lot of people with its corrupted celebrity portrayal of the Son of God.
Hey, you guys mind scooting over a little bit?
Ooh, sorry, Peter. Doesn't look like there's any room.
What do you mean?
Well, there's only one space left, and I promised it to that cow.
I Dream of Jesus plays out like a dream indeed. A surreal fever dream. Number 13. Patriot Games.
What the hell is this?
Oh, hi, Stewie. We were just leaving.
I say, what the devil is all the fuss about? I don't get it. What's in there? Bing bong! Hello!
Did you think we'd forget this episode? After Peter shows off his barging abilities at a high school reunion, Tom Brady recruits him for the New England Patriots. But his flair for the dramatic starts to get in the way of the game, annoying his teammates. Fortunately, their annoyance is our gain as we get one of the weirdest show tunes in the show's history.
Ship-boopy, ship-boopy, ship-boopy. The girl's hard to get.
And while all of this is plenty funny, what's even more notable is the subplot. When Brian loses a bet with Stewie, he suffers a number of brutal beatdowns after he fails to pay up.
You got till 5 o'clock. You hear me? You got till 5 o'clock.
You freaking psychopath!
Clean yourself up.
If there's one thing to rewatch this episode for, it's that. Number 12. Blue Harvest. Star Wars has been parodied by several animated shows, but Family Guy was in a world of its own.
Well, I guess I'll go bullseye some womp rats in my T-16.
My God, you shoot small animals for fun? That's the first indicator of a serial killer, you freak.
There's 2 sons and no women. What the hell am I supposed to do?
When the power goes out, Peter tells the family the story of the sci-fi classic. Following the plot of A New Hope, we see the cast enter the roles of the famous sci-fi characters, and Blue Harvest delivers punchline after punchline, leaving you laughing even if you're not a Star Wars fan.
I know we have a dangerous job to do here, but I'm taking this. I'm taking this couch.
This satirical episode was so popular, Fox got the showrunners to parody the sequels as well.
Well, this is no better.
It's an amazing homage from a galaxy far, far away that will be with us always. Number 11. Death is a bitch! Death is as iconic a minor character as the rest of Quahog, so whenever he appears, you know it's going to be a good episode.
Ew, how did you do that?
Oh, well, let's just say when I was younger, I did some films I'm not particularly proud of.
Death comes knocking on Peter's door, but sprains his ankle while chasing him. Since Death can't do his job, no one can die, which Peter is sure to blab to the whole world. The Griffin Patriarch is then forced to take over Death's job.
You'll kill the kids from Dawson's Creek!
I knew it. As soon as that show came on the air, I said, I'm gonna be the one who has to kill these kids.
The late Norm Macdonald's performance as Death is brilliant, and we still can't help but wonder if that giant squid still plagues the household.
The healthiest thing we can do is just ignore this and pretend it doesn't exist. Just like we do with the squid.
Number 10. The Simpsons Guy. Given that both of these shows are owned by Fox, they've poked fun at each other numerous times. However, when the Griffins actually met the Simpsons, everyone was flabbergasted.
Eat my shorts.
Eat my shorts. I love that.
Seeing the people of Quahog interact with the residents of Springfield was a dream come true. The fact they addressed the accusations that one was a copy of the other created some amazing meta-humor, and the crossover also led to scenes that no one will forget. Both of these sitcoms have entertained the masses for decades, so it's no wonder that The Simpsons Guy is one of the most memorable Family Guy episodes. Number 9. Stewie kills Lois / Lois kills Stewie. Stewie's wish to kill his mother has been a fan-favorite conflict since the start of the show. In this iconic storyline, Stewie is finally able to pull the trigger and get rid of his mother. But we learn that Lois survived and takes on her son after he becomes a tyrannical president. For all the close calls and what-ifs that were thrown around over the years, it was satisfying seeing this battle finally play out. Stewie was brilliant, and Lois was a badass action hero. While it all did turn out to be a computer simulation, we're glad we got to see it happen.
So it was sort of like a dream?
No, it was a simulation.
Yes, but theoretically, if someone watched the events of that simulation from start to finish, only to find out that none of it really happened, I mean, you don't think that should be just like a giant middle finger to them?
Number 8. Daboom. This episode was certainly explosive among fans. As we entered the 2000s, the Griffins are among the only ones prepared for the Y2K crisis. As the family attempts to survive this post-apocalyptic world, Peter tries to rebuild society. You can guess how well that worked out.
Today, my vision for our future comes true. A chicken in every pot and a cap in every ass.
The story is filled with plenty of memorable gags, including the first appearance of Ernie the Giant Chicken.
Oh, yeah, and that nice chicken outside gave me this coupon.
I'm sorry, this is expired.
You son of a...
Of course, the world can't stay like this, so we get a perfect homage when we learn the whole episode was a dream by Victoria Principal from Dallas.
Bobby!
Good morning.
Oh, Bobby, I just had the weirdest dream. I dreamt I saw the strangest episode of Family Guy, and there was a giant chicken, and Stewie was an octopus.
Hey, come on now.
It's a fantastic episode all round. Number 7. Meet the Quagmires. You don't know what you have until it's gone. Peter gets jealous of Quagmire's single lifestyle, so Death sends him and Brian back in time so Peter can get a taste for it. In doing so, he drastically changes the present.
Morning, sweetie.
Ah! Who the hell are you? What are you doing in my bed?
Peter, it's me, Molly, your wife.
He's married to Molly Ringwald. Al Gore is the President of the United States, and Lois is married to Quagmire. We see that everyone seems a lot happier in this universe, all except Peter with the knowledge of what he's lost. Although the world might have been better if they weren't married, seeing Peter fight for Lois does amount to a touching resolution in Back to the Future fashion.
Earth angel, please be mine. My darling dear, love you for all time. I'm just a fool.
Number 6. Pete-Hearted. Family Guy likes to shock audiences from time to time, and Pete-Hearted might not be made today.
What color is a fire truck?
Oh, God, I always get these. Okay, all right, fire truck. Fire truck. What color are those red fire trucks? Oh, God, I can picture them now, all red and everything.
When Peter wins at Trivial Pursuit, thanks to some meddling from Lois, he starts flaunting his superior knowledge. This annoys Brian and results in Peter taking an IQ test, which reveals some shocking news. However, he then takes advantage of this so he can get away with whatever he wants.
Oh, is this thing on? Attention restaurant customers. Testicles. That is all.
There are a lot of good jokes in this episode, even if it's far from sensitive to its subject matter. Yet, it remains a highly rated episode since its airing thanks to its dark, twisted humor. Number 5. Brian and Stewie. Bottle episodes, where the characters are trapped with each other for a certain length of time, can lead to some serious vulnerability and discovery. And this episode did not disappoint. When Brian takes Stewie to his safe deposit box, the two accidentally get locked in for the weekend. As they count down the hours, the writers really delve deep into their relationship with no cutaways to be seen. There are a few laughs for sure, but it's the emotional turmoil and development that hits home.
I care a great deal about you. A very great deal. Maybe even deeper than that. I love you.
It's episodes like these where we get to empathize with our characters that can prove to be the most memorable. Number 4. PTV. Family Guy has come under a lot of scrutiny for its jokes and subject matter, so Seth MacFarlane decided to send a message with PTV. In this episode, Peter gets sick and tired of his favorite shows being meddled with, so he creates his own TV station, but the result is a visit from the FCC. The episode roasts the sometimes unworkable standards of the Federal Communications Commission. And while there are plenty of jokes in here that could have gotten the show in trouble, they aren't even subtle when they start singing a jaunty tune.
They will clean up all your talking in a manner such as this.
They will make you take a tinkle when you wanna take a piss.
While it may not be at the top of this list, it will certainly remain unforgettable for the FCC. Number 3. And Then There Were Fewer. This love letter to movies like And Then There Were None and Clue was incredibly memorable for shaking up the formula. Instead of just following the Griffin family through their shenanigans, this episode allows the extended cast of Family Guy to shine as we discover a murder mystery.
Maybe it was that cat who was the murderer. Let me ask him. Meow, meow, meow? Meow, 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 meow?
We don't all talk like that. I happen to be a professor.
You can't help but get hooked when prominent side characters are getting axed off left and right. And while the plot is full of amazing twists and turns, the show doesn't forget to be funny.
The murderer is one of us. And someone ate the last goat cheese tartlet.
Now I hope I die next.
We love the fact that all these years down the line, Stewie still hasn't lost his edge.
If anybody's gonna take that down, it's gonna be me.
Number 2. Back to the pilot. In Season 10, Brian and Stewie went back in time to the very first episode of the iconic sitcom, highlighting the drastic differences between when the show began to where it is now. And the writers take full advantage.
Mom, my lips are too thin. Can I please get collagen injections?
Meg, you don't need to change the way you look. You know, most of the world's problems stem from poor self-image.
Oh my God, what's with Meg's voice? She sounds like someone who's about to give up a huge opportunity.
But when Brian succeeds in preventing 9/11, there are unforeseen consequences, including civil war and an apocalyptic future. Their meddling soon reaches the point where countless versions of Stewie and Brian keep going back in time to avert new disasters.
Oh my God, what's that?
I don't know what happened. This is life for some reason. Don't do whatever you're about to do. God help us. This is no way to live.
It was an incredibly funny and even thought-provoking take on the risks of time travel. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Life of Brian. A death in the family tore our hearts out.
You've given me a wonderful life. I love you all.
Death Has a Shadow. The pilot episode showcases the best of what's to come.
You know, Mother, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Your life, however, is more like a box of active grenades!
Emmy-winning episode. The Griffin family go all out in an attempt to win gold.
Bazinga, Father. Assuming father is still the appropriate designation.
What are you doing?
Waiting for the laugh to die down.
3 Kings. 3 Stephen King stories, 3 hilarious parodies.
Don't worry, if a train comes, I'll warn you in slow motion. Train!
12 and a Half Angry Men. This episode lets the minor characters shine.
Enough! Was a movie with Jennifer Lopez that did not live up to expectations.
Number 1, Road to the Multiverse.
Love it. Hate it. Love it.
Hate it.
Brian? This feels weird.
Whenever Road 2 is in the title, you know Brian and Stewie are in for quite the adventure, whether that be trying to get home or attempting to kill Santa Claus. But perhaps the greatest and most adventurous episode of Family Guy is Road to the Multiverse. In this episode, the duo explores the endless possible realities after Stewie wins an animal contest with a mutated pig.
Wait, you bred a pig?
Sure did. Most genetically perfect one in the contest.
Oink. The vast universes get funnier and funnier with every new one introduced, including a dog universe, a robot chicken universe, and the most expensive looking, the Disney universe.
It's a wonderful day for pie. You can ask all the birds in the sky, and they'll tell you real sweet with a musical tweet.
It's a wonderful day for pie.
While comedy is always subjective, no one will ever forget It's a Wonderful Day for Pie, and you know it.
It would be a major understatement to say that Family Guy does not shy away from controversy. In fact, they embrace it. And frankly, I wouldn't want it any other way. Check this out.
I'll tell you what, shove your list up your butt because Christmas time is killing us.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 controversial Family Guy episodes.
Okay, I'll do it. Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin are an even greater team than the Air Force.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most controversial episodes of Family Guy that generated intense discussion and vitriol within the media. What do you think of the controversy? Number 10. Road to the North Pole. Leave it to Family Guy to turn a Christmas episode into a controversial hour of television containing themes of slavery and death.
I don't understand. I thought you were supposed to be jolly and happy.
I used to be.
Like all Road 2 episodes, this one stars Brian and Stewie. They travel to the North Pole where they encounter a sickly Santa Claus, feral reindeer, deformed elves, and a disgusting industrial factory.
I started with one family of magic elves, and every year I needed more and more to keep up. Now they're just a sickly race of mutated genetic disasters.
This disturbing depiction of the typically innocent North Pole drew some criticism, as did a scene where Stewie and Brian break into a house and traumatize the inhabitants.
Hey, who the hell are you?
Hello?
What are you doing in my house?
We're Santa Claus.
Even for die-hard Family Guy fans, Road to the North Pole can prove a little too much.
We're not even Santa anymore. This has been a home invasion.
Number 9. The 2,000-year-old Virgin. Really, anything depicting Jesus in a non-traditional manner is bound to be controversial. Another problematic Christmas episode, the 2,000-year-old Virgin sees a depressed Jesus living a lonely life in Quahog.
Nice place here. This is not too good.
Yeah, I know it's nothing fancy, but, I'm not really into material possessions.
Jeez, this place is depressing.
Feeling bad for him, Peter allows Jesus to sleep with Lois, but later learns that this is an annual ploy that Jesus pulls on gullible men. Not surprisingly, the episode garnered controversy for its depiction of Jesus as a deceitful womanizer.
Listen, pal, Jesus ain't no virgin. He did the same thing to me last Christmas.
He what?
Yeah, Jesus did the same thing to my wife Christmas before last, and my buddy's wife the year before that.
Some critics labeled it blasphemous and offensive, while others criticized the lazy nature of the joke.
Well taught, Jesus. Well taught.
Yeah, I guess. Who cares? I'm not even real. Merry Christmas.
Family Guy loves to provoke its audience with religious jokes, and for some, this one went too far. Number 8. Brian and Stewie. One of the most unique half hours of Family Guy, Brian and Stewie is a bottle episode that takes its characters surprisingly seriously. The two get locked in a bank vault over a weekend and proceed to share intimate thoughts with each other.
Sometimes it's all too much.
What is?
Life, everything.
The episode's serious script received widespread praise, but the proceedings were arguably tarnished by the use of gross-out humor. Brian and Stewie contains a rather revolting subplot about Stewie's used diaper, and it results in some horrific and disgusting sights.
It's done.
Got some dessert for you.
Critics not only complained about the subplot and the resulting visuals, but they also believed it had no business being in an otherwise dramatic episode.
It was my own fault for thinking I could have pretty things. I'm not having fun anymore. I feel you should know that.
Number 7. A Shot in the Dark. Family Guy loves provoking its audience with intentionally controversial material.
I know, sweetie, but then I realized how stupid that is. Okay, bye. You guys are my everything.
This episode was inspired by the killing of Trayvon Martin and sees Peter accidentally shooting Cleveland Jr.
What the hell? Hey, you! Step away from that table. Say, brain fart. Window. Sorry. Hold it right there. I'm warning you. Hands where I can see them.
The very concept of the episode was controversial, and some believed that Martin's death shouldn't be fodder for a satirical episode of Family Guy. The episode's content was also problematic for television broadcasters, and it was twice delayed from airing due to public displays of violence. This episode deals with a very sensitive topic, and like all sensitive topics, it generated a ton of conflicting opinions, some of which weren't so friendly.
And we'd like to see Mr. Griffin held accountable for his actions.
Number 6. When You Wish Upon a Weinstein. This is the legendary lost episode that left early Family Guy fans eagerly curious.
Tony Robbins hungry.
The story sees Peter hiring a Jewish accountant and subsequently converting Chris to Judaism, believing that it makes one successful.
I'm gonna make Chris Jewish.
What are you talking about?
He thinks if Chris is Jewish, he'll become smart.
Peter, you can't convert someone because you think it'll help their grades.
The episode was originally scheduled for release in 2000, but Fox feared the public's reaction and canceled its airing.
Your husband's got a good heart, Lois, but his views on Judaism are a little misguided. I'd consider it a mitzvah to educate him a little.
They were concerned that the episode would be misconstrued as anti-Semitic. As a result, it didn't see the light of day until the Volume 2 DVD in September 2003. Fox's fears somewhat came to light as they were sued by the Bourne Company over the use of I Need a Jew, who claimed the lyrics were offensive and stolen from When You Wish Upon a Star.
I need a Jew.
The suit was subsequently dismissed. Number 5. The Simpsons Guy. It was the episode we were all waiting for, a crossover between Family Guy and The Simpsons. The results were divisive, to say the least. Not only did it receive mixed reviews, but it generated some controversy for its content. The Parents Television Council decried Stewie's obscene prank to Mo, calling it punchline offensive.
Oh my god, that's amazing! That's the coolest thing ever! Hey, I want to try.
Okay.
Mo's Tavern.
Hello, Mo.
But this was just one example of a wider problem. Some critics believe that the episode makes for a poor crossover, arguing Family Guy's dark and provocative brand of humor doesn't blend well with the more family-friendly tone of The Simpsons.
Intellectual theft! What do you have to say about that, Griffin? Go!
As a result, scenes involving nudity and violence were criticized. Number 4. Turban Cowboy. By season 11, Family Guy had veered fully into offensive territory. In this highly controversial episode, Peter befriends a Muslim man named Mahmoud.
I am Mahmoud.
I'm Peter. You know, I never seen a hat like that before, so I'm very scared of it.
No, this is just a taghiya. It's a traditional Muslim prayer cap.
Oh. Hey, you know who'd look funny wearing one of those? The Monopoly guy.
Peter plans to convert to Islam, but changes his mind when he realizes that Mahmoud is hoping to blow up the Quahog Bridge.
Ah! Oh my god!
The episode contains a ton of violent and disturbing images, like Peter blowing up various landmarks with a cell phone and plowing his car through the Boston Marathon. That, combines with the generally offensive nature of the storyline, has made Turban Cowboy an infamous episode of Family Guy. Following the Boston Marathon incident, Fox removed Turban Cowboy from streaming services. Number 3. Quagmire's Dad. This 8th season episode garnered widespread criticism for its depiction of transgender themes. The story centers around Quagmire, who grapples with Ida, the new identity of one of his parents.
Okay, you know what? Elephant in the room. I'll say it. So, Ida, you miss your penis?
Peter!
Thank you for asking it.
Jesus.
No, it's okay. It's a perfectly normal question. We can't sit here and just pretend everything's the same.
Other characters also treat Ida with offensive attitudes. Brian violently vomits after unknowingly sleeping with her, and the Griffins throw out food that Ida brought for dinner.
I made a crumble.
Oh, how thoughtful. Throw it away in the outside garbage.
While Seth MacFarlane believes that the episode treated its themes with tender care, mostly everyone else disagreed. While the portrayal of Ida herself was commended, many critics felt that the attitudes of the other characters were mean-spirited.
I don't even know what to call you. My dad? My other mother? My friend who pees sitting down but can also palm a basketball?
What about Ida?
Oh, no.
Number 2. Partial Terms of Endearment. This is the second episode that Fox refused to air, following Season 3's When You Wish Upon a Weinstein. In this one, Lois becomes a surrogate mother through in vitro fertilization.
It was suggested that I find a healthy woman who would consider carrying our child to term. And well, Lois, that's why we're here. We were wondering if you would be our surrogate.
Oh my God. You want me to carry your child?
However, the parents die in a car accident, leaving Lois with an important decision. The episode was generally praised for its themes and discussions, but its quality was overshadowed by its reputation.
Hello, friend. I hear you're contemplating having an abortion. But before you do, remember, science has proven that within hours of conception, a human fetus has started a college fund and has already made your first Mother's Day card out of macaroni and glitter.
Fox canceled the airing over content concerns, and unlike When You Wish Upon a Weinstein, Adult Swim acquiesced to Fox and agreed not to air the episode. To this day, Partial Terms of Endearment has not aired on Fox, although it would receive a US DVD release and air in the UK.
Of course it's a big decision. Life is full of big decisions.
Number 1. Screams of Silence, the story of Brenda Q. This is easily the most infamous episode of Family Guy, and it once again revolves around Quagmire.
Glenn, don't die from autoerotic asphyxiation. Your friends want to go fishing with you.
This song is from childhood?
In Screams of Silence, he and the boys plot to kill Jeff, who has been physically and mentally tormenting Quagmire's sister. Unlike most Family Guy episodes, bar maybe Brian and Stewie, Screams of Silence is largely played straight. Unfortunately, many critics felt that the show failed to treat its serious subject matter with the necessary care and depth. And for many, the episode simply came across as shockingly violent and morally abhorrent.
I choke myself every day, you bastard!
Everyone agreed that Caitlin Olsen made for a great guest star, but she was the only redeeming thing about an otherwise irredeemable episode.
Oh my God.
No, it's really not that bad. It only hurts when I see.
While Family Guy is very much an animated series, there have been a number of live-action sequences on the show. No, really. And these moments find the cartoon at its most surreal. And hey, that's saying something. But as always, you don't need to take my word for it. Check this out.
Look, there's the Aurora Borealis.
Yes, and there's the Aurora Borealis.
Hi there.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Family Guy live-action sequences.
The problem now is that these people are expecting a show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty. To convey this moment of shock at the depth of the conspiracy around me, here's Ryan O'Neal in the movie Tough Guys Don't Dance.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man.
Pretty cool, huh? It's broken.
For this list, we'll be looking at the best segments from the show that aren't animated. We'll look at cutaways, guest appearances, and scenes that drove the plot of the episode. What was your favorite live-action moment in Family Guy? Any we missed? Number 10. An enraged Tony Sirico. Shortly after Brian tragically expired, Tony Sirico, best known for his role as Paulie in The Sopranos, took over as the family dog when he played Vinny.
Well, Vinny, welcome to our home.
All right, this is good. This is good. Hey, you guys got a good bang of broadcasts, you know that?
While Vinny's appearance in the house during Season 12 was short-lived, Tony made another appearance in Season 13 as himself. Chris needs to pass his history class if he's to pass the 9th grade. So, Stewie and Brian take him on an educational trip through space and time.
And Italy before pasta.
Hey!
Oh!
Vowel sound!
They were always a ridiculous people.
After Stewie makes fun of Italians, Tony makes an appearance to let them know how angry he is in a hilarious cameo.
Hey, Family Guy, you're lucky I got a manigot in the oven, or I'd bash your face into a bolognese. That's 2 kinds of food. That's how angry I am.
Number 9. Conway Twitty.
Yikes! Looks like I need a distraction. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty.
Whenever the citizens of Quahog need a distraction, they just need to introduce this American country musician to buy themselves at least a couple of minutes of airtime. Conway Twitty became somewhat of a running joke through the series. Characters were free to randomly cue him up to sing one of his songs.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Bieber.
He's made infamous appearances in episodes like The Juice is Loose and Lois Comes Out of Her Shell, and even became Darth Twitty for the Star Wars special.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Darth Twitty.
The piece might have initially been funny to audiences due to how surreal his inclusion was, but the gag was used so frequently that even the show began to acknowledge the joke was getting old.
That's the problem with this world. Too many people go overboard with what they believe. Like Quagmire when he thought he was the one getting the spinoff.
See you later, bitches. Have fun with your stupid goddamn giant chicken jokes and your Conway Twitty.
Hey, why is there a moving truck outside Cleveland's house?
Number 8. A mature casting joke. As a show gets on in age, it sometimes starts to dabble in meta-humor. This was exactly the premise for Season 16's Emmy-winning episode.
Family Guy has been around since 1999, and whenever it's time for the Emmys, they don't give us one. I'm sick of it.
Well, I'm not making another episode with The Simpsons. What did that get us? I'll tell you what it got us. More ink for The Simpsons.
During the episode, the family pulls all the stops to try and win at least one television award. They even include a live-action chicken fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy this spectacular live-action chicken fight starring Ty Burrell. Good night.
The Family Guy formula gets drastically shaken up as they parody other award-winning shows in various categories. Peter even tries to win Best Casting by bringing in Asa Akira, a performer known for more adult-oriented films.
Have you done anything like this before?
Never. This is my first time.
All right, now a lot of these scenes are going to be you interacting with someone else, so I'll just come around and read with you. Now, since I'm holding the camera, I'm going to need some help with my belt buckle.
The scene's premise and dialogue is loaded with double entendres. It's such a risque live-action cameo that even Peter comments on it.
It's back this way. And who was that Asian girl on the couch?
I think you knew who that was.
Number 7. Real Time with Bill Maher.
Actually, Dana, if I may, I have some insight on this. Bill, do you mind?
Go, dog.
Brian has been a self-proclaimed writer for a long time, but it wasn't until Stewie helped him write Wish It, Want It, Do It that he started to get some recognition. As he tours with the book release, his ego starts to get the better of him. His newfound bravado leads to his downfall when Bill Maher invites him onto the show.
Aren't Wish It and Want It really the same thing? I mean, your book basically makes 3 points and 2 of them the same point.
Brian proceeds to get torn down for his pompous attitude and how harmful his book actually is. While this mashup isn't exactly Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it brought a new layer of comedy to the show. It's hilarious to see Brian's world come crashing down once Bill gives it to him straight.
I mean, if you're going to take a dump on people, the kind of steaming, stinking, smelly dump that your kind traffics in, at least stand by your dump.
Number 6. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow. After an intoxicated Brian makes out with Meg, Meg develops a huge crush on him. He spends the rest of the episode trying to insist that he's just not into her, but Meg doesn't seem to hear Brian's pleas.
What's that, Brian? Oh, you were just kidding. Oh, I know you were. I love you too, Brian. And you love me. You do love me, Brian.
In order to really get her to listen, Brian says that Garrett Morris, who serves as the fictional headmaster of the New York School for the Hard of Hearing, will help out. The actor then suddenly appears in live action.
Meg, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend.
We're not boyfriend and girlfriend!
I will never be attracted to you.
I will never be attracted to you!
Whatever Brian says to Meg, Morris repeats while screaming as loud as he can, in a nod to his iconic bit from Saturday Night Live. It's a bizarre cameo that left us a little confused and uncomfortable, but laughing all the same.
Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow!
Number 5. Peter Takes a Trip. Whenever a cartoon series makes it big, there's always a segment of the fan base who want to know what their favorite characters would look like in real life. Fortunately, Family Guy gave us that vision as early as Season 2.
In local news, a new drug craze may have Quahog students licked. It's called Toad.
The Colombian spotted toad, to be precise, Diane. When licked, these toads trigger an intense psychedelic euphoria. That's just great.
Lois and Peter confront Chris when they think he might be licking hallucinogenic toads. Peter decides to recount his own experience with questionable substances. This flashback leads to a brief visual of him sitting on a park bench in the real world.
Holy crap, I am freaking out!
Whether you find the actor wearing a costume to look like Peter hilarious or uncomfortable, it's definitely a Family Guy moment you won't forget.
Now, Chris, we told you that was just a very bad dream.
But I remember it so
It was a dream!
Number 4. I just had the weirdest dream. When the millennium approaches, Y2K turns the world post-apocalyptic and a list of ridiculous events unfold. Dangerous people run amok, genetic mutations are commonplace, and Peter becomes mayor of New Quahog. He naturally ends up leading the town into complete ruin.
Where did you get the metal for all those guns?
Recycling. I used the pipes from our irrigation system.
Are you crazy? You destroyed all our water pipes?
We don't need guns, we need food and water.
I have a canker sore on my lip and I keep poking at it with my tongue, but that's only making it worse.
As the family walks away from the disaster, the camera fades to Pam Ewing from the show Dallas.
Good morning.
Oh, Bobby, I just had the weirdest dream. I dreamt I saw the strangest episode of Family Guy, and there was a giant chicken, and Stewie was an octopus.
Hey, come on now.
She became an infamous part of TV history after revealing that an entire season of the show had been a dream. Here, Pam confides in her husband Bobby and reveals that the Family Guy episode we just saw was just a dream before looking into the camera.
It's all right. Everything's gonna be okay. What's Family Guy?
It was a fantastic and funny way to reset the animated world after a bonkers episode. Number 3, a Christmas narrator.
Hi, I'm Ron MacFarlane, Seth MacFarlane's father, and I'm here to tell you the story of a very special Christmas in Quahog.
Usually, you don't want your dad saying embarrassing stuff in front of everyone. That doesn't seem to be the case in the MacFarlane household.
Hey, you want to hear a real live-action fart instead of one of those fake cartoony ones? We're gonna need another pair of pants and another chair.
In a fantastic Family Guy Christmas special, Seth MacFarlane roped his father Ron into narrating The Road to the North Pole. During Brian and Stewie's adventure to eliminate Santa Claus, Old Man MacFarlane offers plenty of jokes in between scenes.
As long as I've got all you people watching, does anyone want to buy some pot?
He burps, plays with toys, and offers you some less than legal substances. Honestly, Ron seems like a pretty chill guy. His live-action cameo was an awesome way for Seth to incorporate his family into the show. Number 2, Go to Sleep, Adam West. Who knew Family Guy could address such complex issues in such a charming way? When Meg gets the mumps, she turns to Faith for support. At the same time, Brian tries to get her away from more destructive habits.
But what is there to believe in without God? Where do the answers come from?
Well, that's all part of the human experience. It's what we're here to find out. And I bet you that the real answer to the nature of our existence is going to be more unimaginably amazing than we can possibly conceive.
The two end up having a deep conversation about the nature of their existence. But in the end, the answer is even more ridiculous than you can imagine. It turns out, the entire Family Guy universe takes place in the lampshade of a bedroom shared by Rob Lowe and Adam West.
I swear I heard something.
Oh, Adam, we have been over and over this. There is nothing under your bed. There is nothing in the closet. There are no such things as monsters.
After Adam thinks he hears something, Rob comforts him. They then acknowledge the fact that they're actors in an adorable and hilarious way.
Now, try to go to sleep because we got to get up in the morning and make movies. We're big Hollywood actors.
Yeah, we are.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. I'm Dressed Like a Cat. Peter joins Paula Abdul to sing Opposites Attract with a twist.
It ain't fiction, just a natural fact. We come together, 'cause I'm dressed like a cat.
Brian and Stewie in the real world. Traveling to different universes gets a bit too real.
Brian, this feels weird.
Hit the button.
I'm suing. Alyssa Milano really doesn't like jokes at her expense.
Hey, since I became president, profits have been higher than Alyssa Milano.
What kind of cheap shot, Joel?
I'm suing, I'm on it.
Scott Bakula takes a quantum leap into Quahog. All because Quagmire doesn't recognize himself in the mirror.
This isn't who I am. I looked in the mirror this morning, and it was like I was looking at a man I'd never seen before.
Hi, Scott Bakula.
Number 1, The Worry Song. During a yard sale, Stewie's bear Rupert is mistakenly sold by Brian. They find out where the person who purchased the toy has moved to. But if they're going to get over the mountains of Colorado, they must rent a helicopter. When they don't have enough money for the deposit, they offer a jaunty tune instead.
You may think that song and dance is dated, boring and dry, but you might just learn to like it if you give it a try.
What follows is perhaps the most iconic live-action sequence in Family Guy history. Stewie joins Gene Kelly for The Worry Song, replacing Jerry Mouse from Anchors Away.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. La 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 la. La 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 la.
You see?
It's easy.
Stewie looks positively joyful as he bounces around to a classic dance number. The piece impressed audiences and the helicopter rental before the duo sets off to find Rupert.
Okay, when it comes to Family Guy, a certain word gets tossed around quite a bit. Cringy. Yes, this is a show that doubles down on the cringe factor more times than not. But what's the cringiest cringe that Family Guy has offered up? Well, WatchMojo's got the answer. Take a look.
Let me ask you, are you leaking? Because I've been leaking.
How old are you?
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 cringiest Family Guy moments. For this list, we'll be looking at the hard-to-stomach moments with the characters from Quahog. We're not saying these scenes are necessarily bad, just that they rely heavily on cringe to deliver humor. A good majority of these scenes will be story-heavy, so expect spoilers ahead. Which Family Guy scenes make you wince? Number 10. How Peter delivers bad news. Sometimes, no news is the best news, especially with how Peter delivers it.
Well, I better tell Cleveland. I got a knack for delivering bad news.
I don't know how to tell you this, Mr. Devaney, so I'll let these guys do it.
In arguably one of the most controversial cutaways in Season 4, Peter recalls how he's amazing at giving bad news. We then cut to him and a barbershop quartet singing an upbeat song to tell an ailing patient that he has AIDS.
You have AIDS.
Yes, you have AIDS.
I hate to tell you, boy, that you have AIDS.
You got the AIDS.
You may have caught it when you stuck that filthy needle in here.
Admittedly, the song is kind of morbidly hilarious and catchy, clearly intending to be tasteless. Still, we can't help but shudder imagining what it would be like to receive this kind of news in such a tactless way.
Be sure that you see that this is not HIV, but full-blown.
Number 9. Everybody spit on Meg. The Griffins are hiding in a panic room while their house is being robbed, but they have the idea of sending Meg down the vents so she can get help.
Meg, go get us some sandwiches.
Wait a minute, that's a great idea. If Meg can get through the vent, she can sneak out and go get help.
Meg doesn't want to do this, but Peter ignores her and tells everyone to spit on her so she'll slide easily down the vents.
Dad, I can't go through the vent.
Yeah, she's right. We need to grease her up so she doesn't get stuck. Everybody spit on Meg.
Stop! Stop! You got Stop! Stop! Okay.
They do so without question, and then forcibly shove her down the vent. She screams that she hates her family, and honestly, can you blame her?
I hate you all!
We love the Meg being a punching bag dynamic, but sometimes her family can be harsh even by their standards. And her luck in this episode only gets worse from here.
Put my sandwich on whole wheat, please. No. Don't use that mustard. Use the other mustard. Oh, God, Meg, they know you're there. Quick, scrape that mustard off. Use the other mustard.
Number 8. Not taking the high road. Peter is remembering an incident at Michael J. Fox's party when suddenly we cut to him addressing the audience directly.
Hi, I'm Peter Griffin. Now, we were going to show you the actual scene, but it would just make us all sad.
He mentions how they originally planned to do a cutaway gag of Fox accidentally spilling wine all over Peter's shirt, making an obvious jab at the actor's Parkinson's disease.
He said, send me the bill. Actually, that's not how he said it, but, we got there. Anyway, I sent him the bill, and he sent me this check, but I don't think I'm going to be able to cash this.
They had decided not to go through with the showing of the sketch, and then proceeded to show it anyway, completely undoing Peter's speech about taking the high road. We honestly don't expect better class from Family Guy at this point, but even we were kind of shocked when they went through with this one.
I'm glad we took the high road on this one. What's that? Oh, wait, now they're telling me they do want to show it. I really like the finish on this Shiraz. Son of a bitch, what is your problem?
Number 7. Quagmire grooming Meg. Meg has just turned 18, and Quagmire, being the persistent pervert that he is, finally makes his move.
Hey, where's that Pinky going, huh? Where's he going? What's he do? Get back here. There you go.
He flirts with her, makes her feel special, and does everything he can to get her in the mood for sex. You'd think watching him try to groom his best friend's daughter would be disgusting enough, right? Let's not forget that Quagmire is actually 61 years old, so watching him flirt and get cozy with an 18-year-old is even creepier.
You're 61 years old?
Yes, sir.
The only saving grace of this whole nightmare is watching Peter and Lois show that they genuinely care about Meg's safety, which is a nice change from the usual Meg the Martyr status quo.
I tell you something, if he touches my daughter, I'm going to be kicking butts and taking names, and then giving those names to other people whose butts I kick.
Number 6. Brian's crappy favor. While the bottle episode Brian and Stewie is praised for expanding on our favorite dynamic duo's relationship, there's still one infamous scene that's agonizing to sit through.
Did you just crap your diaper?
I got scared when the door closed.
When Stewie soils himself, he asks Brian to clean his diaper by licking it.
I'm not going to be able to stay like this until tomorrow, you know. Well, I don't know what you expect me to do about it.
You don't?
Reluctantly, Brian agrees to do so, and it's just too nasty to watch, even if we don't actually see it. With no music or cutaways, the scene drags on tirelessly, followed by Brian eating Stewie's vomit and, in the extended version, cleaning Stewie's bottom the same way. Suffice it to say, the scene leaves a horrible taste in both Brian's and our mouths.
Got some dessert for you.
You gotta be kidding me.
Come on, it's throw up. You like throw up.
I do like throw up.
Number 5. Quagmire meets The Simpsons. The scene starts off with a fake banner advertising The Simpsons. Then Quagmire comes in trying to get intimate with Marge. Non-consensually, we might add. She ends up falling for him and they go back to her place.
Oh, I gotta say, that was fantastic.
What do you say we go back to your place for round 2?
Sounds good to me.
Feel like cringing yet? Oh, just wait. Homer then catches them in bed and Quagmire shoots him.
Hey, what's going on here? Ah! Get off my wife!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
He then shoots the rest of the family. Marge, Bart, Lisa, and yes, even little Maggie. All shot dead. Luckily, we only see the outside of the Simpsons' house, so we don't see the actual murders.
Oh no! Who will pay for my saxophone lessons?
But even without seeing it, it's hard to stomach any of it. This being something the show really couldn't get away with today. Number 4, Brenda's relationship. Quagmire's sister Brenda has an extremely violent boyfriend named Jeff, and he's just the worst.
All right, on the way back, I get to pick the radio station because that was awful.
I know, yeah, it was. I'm sorry. Oh, God, I hope Glenn's okay. I'm so worried about him.
Shut up and limp!
He mistreats her verbally, emotionally, and physically on a daily basis for no reason. And Brenda is so broken and frightened that she takes the abuse without question.
It's really not that bad. It only hurts when I see.
Domestic abuse is one of the worst experiences anyone in real life can endure. While highlighting the issue could have audiences confront it themselves and open a helpful discourse, Family Guy's portrayal of it isn't exactly tactful. Though the conflict ultimately gets resolved, we can't say we want to revisit this episode anytime soon.
So what? I need money for motor oil and wallet chains.
Okay, I'll ask about it Monday. Can I put my nightgown back on?
No, I'm not done drawing.
Number 3, Pregnant Stewie. Do we really need to spell out why this one is so cringy?
This isn't fun for me.
Just read the title out loud, and that's all you need to know. In a twisted attempt to grow closer to Brian, Stewie impregnates himself with the dog's DNA and gets to experience all the ups and downs of motherhood.
Oh, and while I'm pregnant, I'm going to need you to change the cat litter.
We don't have a cat.
Please don't fight me on this. Oh, my back is killing me. And I've also been experiencing a little morning sickness.
Even if he is a maniacal genius with a thirst for blood, Stewie is still an infant himself. So the idea of him impregnating himself is wrong on so many levels, and the actual birth is horrific even though we don't see it.
They're coming out of everywhere! Ah, kill me! This hurts too much!
Look, we love Brian and Stewie as a duo, but did we really need to see it escalate to this? Number 2, Peter saves the whale. Peter seems to have a happy talent for taking a bad situation and making it even worse.
This whale's beached himself. He needs to get back in the water or he'll die.
Step aside, I'll handle this. Give me some room.
For example, he tries to rescue a beached whale with a forklift, only to end up impaling the poor creature. What's that? Not disturbing or disgusting enough for you? How about a full minute of Peter trying to shake the large mammal off the forklift? Though we can't show it all here, it gets impossible to stomach as the poor whale completely falls apart. The beachgoers are rightfully traumatized by this disgusting display while all Peter cares about is showing off his forklift skills.
Your whale come. Oh, cool shell.
Makes you wonder who suffered worse, the whale or the audience. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few other dishonorable mentions. Brian getting his teeth knocked out. Why wouldn't Peter just let him have the rope? I Need a Jew. Peter and stereotyping do not mix.
Since I can't give her a slap, I need a Jew.
Carter drinking eggnog. Peter manages to make nog way, way dirtier.
I don't like eggnog.
Drink the nog, Carter.
I don't want to.
Take it, Carter. Take all the nog.
No!
Yeah, you like that nog. Don't spit the nog out.
Homer and Peter's sexy car wash. Our eyes. Ugh, our eyes.
Well, none of these is my car, but we promised these scumbags a show.
Number 1, The Cosby Show, Knowing What We Know Now. The characters are gathered around the TV to watch a new version of The Cosby Show, subtitled Knowing What We Know Now.
We now return to The Cosby Show, Knowing What We Know Now.
It then shows a remake of the theme song with a few female co-stars either passed out or heavily drugged. We all know what this is referencing, right? Unfortunately, Bill Cosby's name has become synonymous with his indecent assault charges, and it's admittedly hard to look back at his old work and not think about the crimes he's accused of. Though he's certainly ripe for ridicule, this segment makes us almost feel bad about laughing at its incredibly dark humor.
I can't get enough of Family Guy parodies. They're so great. And some of my favorite spoofs that they do on the show, they come courtesy of these faux commercials. There have been numerous advertisements that have aired throughout the series. So it's only fitting that we take a look at the best ones.
This is living, Bitterman. This set of wheels is even better than those talking cars on that commercial.
Hey, how you doing there?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 funniest commercials in Family Guy.
Ball in a cup, it's a ball in a cup. Ball in a cup, ball in a cup.
We're gonna turn it on. We're gonna bring you the power.
Oh, yeah.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most hilarious parodies of ads seen on the long-running cartoon comedy. What's your favorite commercial parody on the show? Number 10. Mentos. Do you remember those Mentos commercials where someone needs a creative solution to a dilemma and somehow gets one by Mentos in their mouth?
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life.
Family Guy did their own version in their first season, in a way only they can. Outside of Ford's theater, John Wilkes Booth struggles to get a shot at Abraham Lincoln. He then has an epiphany, takes a Mentos, and heads inside. When he gets to the balcony, he shoots through Lincoln's hat, prompting the president to turn around and give him an "Oh, you" gesture.
Mentos fresh and sweet, Mentos fresh in your life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
This nonsensical scenario reminds us of how much old Mentos ads didn't really make any sense. It was the perfect ad for Family Guy to take to the extreme in their own way.
These commercials are stupid.
They certainly don't make me want a Minto.
Totally ineffective.
Must kill Lincoln.
Number 9. Fingernailsforcash.com. For some reason, almost everyone is familiar with the local Cash for Gold dealer due to some low-quality commercials with obnoxious jingles.
I'm the cash man. I'll give you money for your gold, oh yeah.
Family Guy's version featured a man singing along to a piano riff asking to send in your fingernails for cash.
Everyone has fingernails and everyone wants cash. So send us all your fingernails and we'll send you some cash.
Although we'd love to know why they went with this bizarre idea, we can't say it isn't hilarious. Especially the part where a man reveals his intention to build a fort out of fingernails.
Just take the cash and don't ask why we want your fingernails, 'cause we might be building a fort with them.
Fingernailsforcash.com. You get the cash, we get to build a fort with your fingernails.
It's a grossly humorous bit that reminds us of the show's take on the Tooth Fairy, who collects teeth for personal pleasure. Number 8. Cereal commercials. Family Guy has been through a lot of cereal mascot jokes, as well as quite a few commercial parodies. It's so difficult to pick just one that we're going to highlight our favorites.
Post Raisin Bran. Made with raisins, which are grapes that have been dried in the sun for a long period of time.
There's a 1950s Raisin Bran commercial in which the ingredients are explained in hilarious detail multiple times. We also see a commercial for Trix in which the bunny isn't much of a pushover.
Sumo Tonight, brought to you by Asian Trix.
Silly rabbit, Twix are for kids.
You share!
And a Cheerios commercial featuring Peter as the caring dad. The latter is particularly hilarious. As an innocent child asks his father what he wanted to be when he grew up, he's told his unexpected arrival ruined his father's dreams to be a rock star.
I smiled at one girl in a cell phone store, and now here I am stuck eating cereal for dinner with a kid.
You'll always be a rock star to me, Dad.
You ruined my life. I'm going to bed.
Number 7. Cheetos.
My God, I'm cooler than that cheetah from the commercials.
Chester Cheetah has been around for roughly 4 decades, and there's just no way to think of Cheetos without seeing the orange big cat with sunglasses.
I'm a cool daddy-o, rocking on the patio. When before my very eyes, I see cheese materialize.
If you're looking for something else you can't unsee, Family Guy presents a version of the beloved mascot that's a little too into his own product. As he indulges in bad habits, Rush plays in the background, and Chester crushes a glass in enthusiasm, getting shards in his hands.
Oh, God, there is no drummer better than Neil Peart!
It ain't easy being cheesy.
This ad gives a new meaning to the slogan, "It ain't easy being cheesy." Looks like Chester needs to lay off the cheese. Maybe even go to rehab. Number 6, juicy fruit.
They found us, kid. We're going back to base. Just as soon as I grab some powder with these skiing young people.
Anyone who grew up in the 80s or 90s remembers juicy fruit commercials. They often featured a group of young people engaged in some exciting activity while chewing copious amounts of juicy fruit gum. After all, the taste will allegedly move ya.
Juicy fruit is gonna move ya. It juices soft, it gets right to ya.
So why mess with nostalgic perfection? In one of their famous Star Wars specials, Peter's Han Solo takes a moment to go skiing with some friends. We then see a basically shot-for-shot remake of 1991's skiing juicy fruit commercial. What's great about this one is that there's no major deviation or satirical jokes. It's just the same commercial animated.
Juicy fruit, the taste is gonna move ya.
Number 5, Nike. You know those inspirational sports gear commercials? Nike is guilty of many of them, and this didn't go unnoticed by our friends at Family Guy.
If greatness doesn't come knocking at your door, maybe you should go knock on its door.
In Peter's version, he speaks of going the distance, pushing your limits, and taking things one step further. This, of course, results in complete nonsense. It begins with the typical push yourself physically stuff, as Peter goes from running a mile to running a marathon. It then spirals into having 3 families, executing them all, and ending up on death row.
Don't go to the funeral, because remember, you got 2 other families to deal with and a marathon to train for. Don't just let Kenneth walk out of your life. Take his life from him.
This commercial does an excellent job at parodying the inspirational tone Nike commercials go for. And bonus point to the ending tagline.
Nike. You may not know this, but our full name is Nikel.
Number 4, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Any fan of the series is familiar with this one. Al Harrington and his shipping error have resulted in a warehouse full of those tube men often seen flailing wildly outside of car dealerships. Now he wishes to pass those savings on to you.
Attract customers to your business. Make a splash at your next presentation. Keep grandma company. Protect your crops. Confuse your neighbors.
The full commercial highlights the benefits of owning one of these innovative wonders. You can keep grandma company, show your enthusiasm in church, and confuse your neighbors. The thing about this commercial is it really clears up where one can purchase a tube man.
Whatever your wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man needs are. So come on down to Al Harrington's wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man emporium and warehouse. Route 2 in Quahog!
It also has a Star Wars version.
Intergalactic proton-powered electrical tentacled advertising droids. Intergalactic proton-powered electrical tentacled advertising droids. Intergalactic proton-powered electrical tentacled advertising droids.
Number 3, butter spread. The 80s and 90s kids will remember the old campaign for an apparently impressive margarine product that featured only a couple's hands. They would gesture towards it, discussing the product and butter their toast.
Stick around, I'm on a roll. Let me in a muffin.
As usual, Family Guy took it to the next level.
Hey, is that new butter substitute?
It sure is.
The man asks the woman about the product and then attempts to get some on his butter knife, only to be refused. His extreme response is to stab his partner's hand. Her response is to reveal that she has hepatitis.
I
Hey, joke's on you, I have hepatitis.
Clearly, the relationship in this version has some serious problems that the couple from the original ads didn't. Number 2, Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm seems to keep tabs on a lot of things. They always remember.
Pepperidge Farm raisin bread. You see, Pepperidge Farm remembers.
While we recall the time Futurama parodied the commercial, Family Guy elevated the joke.
Remember those sweet, warm New England summers? Remember sipping lemonade underneath a shady tree? Remember when you hit that pedestrian with your car at the crosswalk and then just drove away? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Peter Griffin's program made the company sound a little threatening. Family Guy's Pepperidge Farm guy even remembers the time you hit a pedestrian with your car and just drove off. Buying some of their famous Milano cookies might just make the problem go away.
Maybe you go out and buy yourself some of these distinctive Milano cookies. Maybe this whole thing just disappears.
The blackmail version of the commercial is hilarious. Imagine the old guy on his wagon coming by your place and eyeing you suspiciously. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Pillsbury Doughboy. Our beloved doughy friend gets rolled.
Nothing says I love you like something from... Hey, what the hell are you doing, you crazy bitch?
These ought to cheer Brian up. Cinnamon buns are his favorite.
Wilkins Hyundai and Subaru. A classic monotonous athlete advert.
At Wilkins Hyundai and Subaru, we have Hyundais and Subarus.
Army recruitment. A normally serious U.S. Army commercial gets wild and adds a catchphrase.
The U.S. Army. Oh, yeah. Your experience may differ.
Pawtucket Patriot Ale. A refreshing beverage on a New England beach.
Pawtucket Patriot, the perfect beer for New England beaches.
Sanguelto, the blood thinner for gray-haired folks.
Thanks to Sanguelto, I can snuggle with my age-appropriate wife on a blanket underneath non-holiday-related fireworks. I left her for 6 weeks back in 2009, only to realize I was already too old to bed the type of women that would make such a separation worth it.
Number 1. All Fruit. This is another commercial from the 80s, and Peter is kind enough to explain the reference after the fact.
Please pass the all fruit.
Pass the Polana all fruit.
Pass the Polana all fruit.
Would you please pass the jelly?
Polana All Fruit had a commercial in 1989 that featured an unruly man at a breakfast referring to the all fruit as jelly.
This outraged the fellow diners and even made an older woman faint.
Would you please pass the jelly?
Polana All Fruit is real fruit, sweetened only with fruit juice. You'll call it delicious, you'll call it remarkable, but please, don't dare call it jelly.
Family Guy recreates the commercial and has Peter appear in an editing room to show the original and describe the situation.
Okay, watch. Here's where it all goes to hell.
Would you please pass the jelly?
See, he called it jelly. All right, now what I don't get is, if they know this guy, why are they surprised by the way he talks? Right? And if they don't know him, why is he at the table?
This is then followed by another parody of the ad, as now that we are enlightened, we will better understand the joke.
I'll have the aspic. I too will have the aspic.
Could you please pass the beef jelly?
Oh! Huh? See? Now aren't you glad we did all that work earlier?
Thanks, Peter.
For all the over-the-top silliness and, let's face it, pretty random comedy that Family Guy has thrown our way over the years, they still managed to tackle some fairly serious issues. Yeah, who knew? Well, watch Mojo. Take a look.
I don't believe in God.
What? Brian? How can you say that?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 times Family Guy tackled serious issues.
I mean, certainly the love between a man and a woman should be sacred, but...
Who's talking about love? We're talking about marriage.
Well, don't you love Mom?
Come on, Lois, look at her.
Oh, God, what have I done? I knew smoking was bad, but I still sold my soul.
You can't just buy a bar mitzvah. It requires a lot of study.
Can we skip that part?
For this list, we'll be looking at episodes where Family Guy took on a sensitive topic or a controversial issue. What serious issue tackled by Family Guy stood out to you? Number 10. Chris dates a girl with Down syndrome. In this episode, Chris has a crush on Ellen, a girl who has Down syndrome, and he works up the courage to ask her out after a harrowing experience in the woods.
Well, I really like you. And I was wondering if maybe, you want to go out on a date with me.
You want me to be your girlfriend?
Shucks, I guess that's what I'm driving at.
However, things don't work out when the two go on a date, as Chris finds her to be too difficult.
Hey, what the hell you think you're doing?
Sitting down?
Get up and pull my chair out for me.
Oh, goodness, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's better.
Andrea F. Friedman, the actress who voices Ellen, has Down syndrome in real life, and the message of the episode is that people with Down syndrome are like everyone else, for better or for worse. However, the episode also contained a controversial reference to former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, who has a child with Down syndrome. Several people, including Palin herself, were outraged by the joke at the time of the episode's airing.
So what do your parents do?
That's better. My dad's an accountant, and my mom is the former governor of Alaska.
Number 9. Lois has a shoplifting problem.
I'm a little short. I'll have to put the ham back.
The reason Lois engages in this illegal activity is because of the rush it gives her when she gets away with it. She ends up going to prison when she's eventually caught, and her family's life ends up being complicated when they break her out and have to go on the lam with her.
I think I got an idea of how to smuggle you out.
Bye-bye. Take care now. Have a nice day.
The episode doesn't delve into the effects of shoplifting, such as the harm it does to stores or how the costs are pushed onto consumers. The moral doesn't really go beyond shoplifting as a crime, so nobody should do it. Hopefully you already knew that.
I made my own bed with this one, guys. I'm just gonna have to pay my debt to society.
Number 8. Brian admits to being an atheist.
Ugh, Mom, you sound like a non-believer. Brian, you're a thoughtful person. Are you willing to open yourself up to God's truth?
Oh, you're barking up the wrong tree, Meg. I'm an atheist.
Considering himself a dog of great intellect, Brian has found no need to belong to any particular religion. When Meg asks Brian to lead the Griffin family in prayer, he comes out to the family as an atheist.
I don't believe in God.
What? Brian? How can you say that?
Upon discovering this revelation, the whole town of Quahog treats Brian like he's an outcast. In American society, atheists don't get the warmest reception, and this episode playfully exaggerates the unpopularity of atheism. Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane, who also does the voice of Brian, is a vocal atheist and a critic of religion.
But what is there to believe in without God? Where do the answers come from?
Well, that's all part of the human experience. It's what we're here to find out. And I bet you that the real answer to the nature of our existence is going to be more unimaginably amazing than we can possibly conceive.
Number 7. Brian Griffin fights for marriage equality. Brian's cousin Jasper plans to enter a same-sex marriage, but it's threatened because Adam West is considering issuing a ban.
Some breaking news today when Mayor West announced he will sign a citywide ban on gay marriages next week. While controversial, it has nonetheless effectively distracted all of us from the Diggum fiasco.
To stick up for his cousin, Brian tries to change people's minds about gay marriage, including Lois. With this take on gay marriage, Family Guy comments on the hypocrisy of people who pretend that letting LGBTQ+ people get married is a threat, while such people don't respect their own marriage.
What if Brian's right? I mean, certainly the love between a man and a woman should be sacred, but...
Who's talking about love? We're talking about marriage.
Well, don't you love Mom?
Come on, Lois, look at her.
So 2 straight people who hate each other have more of a right to be together than 2 gay people who love each other?
That's what we raised you to believe.
The show also pokes fun at politicians who use the issues like marriage equality as a political distraction from their own failures, such as Mayor West with his Diggum statue.
I'm sorry, Mayor West.
Well, you were only doing what you thought was right, Brian. And hey, you've distracted everyone from the Diggum statue, so I guess we don't need this bill anymore.
Number 6. The Griffins befriend a Jewish man. Given how irresponsible Peter is, it isn't surprising that he's no good with money.
So perhaps you'd be interested in something every homeowner cannot be without: volcano insurance.
Go on.
According to my uncle, who's a real whiz with volcanoes, a volcano is coming this way.
I too have an uncle. Come in.
When he's helped by accountant Max Weinstein, Peter assumes the man is good with finances because he's Jewish. Impressed with his Jewish friend, Peter pushes for Chris to convert to Judaism in the hopes that becoming Jewish will provide Chris with a better life.
Oh, Lois, I'm gonna make Chris Jewish.
What are you talking about?
He thinks if Chris is Jewish, he'll become smart.
Various stereotypes about Jewish people are explored and poked fun at in this episode. Because of its subject matter, the episode was considered so controversial that Fox didn't air it until after it had already premiered on Adult Swim.
How much for one of those?
You can't just buy a bar mitzvah. It requires a lot of study.
Can we skip that part? I mean, come on. If Chris knew how to study, he wouldn't need to become Jewish in the first place, right?
Number 5. Peter Griffin takes on Big Tobacco.
Hello, boys. Today's pie is cherry. It'll be ready just in time for lunch.
Wow, these guys sure know how to run a company.
Look how happy those morons are. They'll never realize we're using those toys to get children addicted to our company's cigarettes.
After the El Dorado Cigarette Company buys out the happy-go-lucky toy factory, Peter finds himself working for the organization. He finds the job to be lucrative and is quickly promoted to president of the company. However, this doesn't sit well with Lois and the rest of his family, who find Peter doing the bidding of Big Tobacco to be morally reprehensible.
Oh, God, what have I done? I knew smoking was bad, but I still sold my soul. And for what? Martha Stewart? Come on, kids. We gotta put a stop to this. Now!
The episode satirizes tactics cigarette companies use to deflect blame, such as lobbying Congress and tactics they use to target consumers through advertising mascots like the Marlboro Man and Joe Camel.
Timmy, where's Lassie?
She's out in the orchard, Ma. Peaches are coming in mighty early this year.
Smoke.
You know what they say, Timmy. Early peaches, long summer.
Smoke.
What's that, Lassie?
Are you smoking yet?
Number 4. The Griffins deal with immigration.
Boy, I never knew it'd feel this good to love my country. It's like loving God or a step-parent. You never really feel 'em love you back, but that's okay, because they got other stuff going on, and you understand.
With a newfound sense of patriotism after attending a parade celebrating military vets, Peter becomes fiercely anti-immigrant. However, because of an office policy he pushed for that required his company to verify every employee's legal status, Peter finds out that he wasn't born in the USA, but actually Mexico.
I was so afraid of being judged by the community that I never filled out the paperwork to make you a citizen.
Mom, what are you saying?
Peter, as far as the U.S. government is concerned, you're an illegal Mexican immigrant.
Unable to pass a citizenship test, his status is considered undocumented, and he discovers what life is like on the other side of the immigration debate. In classic Family Guy fashion, the episode takes sympathy with undocumented immigrants while still cracking jokes at their expense.
Immigrants built this country, and I say it's time for us to take it back. Who's with me?
Could you say whole speech again in Spanish?
Number 3. The Griffins come to terms with Brian's passing. In 2013, Family Guy decided to take a bold step and send Brian to the great beyond. His untimely passing was the result of getting hit by a car while getting ready to practice some street hockey.
Brian, look out!
One of the most emotional moments from the show comes when the Griffins visit Brian in his final moments to say goodbye.
Damn it, Brian, you can't die! We were going to do so many things together. We were going to become windsurfers. I was going to be a little better than you, but we were both going to be good.
However, Brian was brought back a couple of episodes later, which one could argue mitigated the finality of the issue. Many longtime fans of Family Guy were furious that the show would send off such a beloved character as Brian.
You've given me a wonderful life. I love you all.
Number 2. Glenn Quagmire deals with his dad coming out as transgender.
At ease, ladies. Hey, Glenn, you're not going to give your dad an entrance?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Guys, watch this.
Upon coming to Quahog to attend a naval ball, Quagmire's father Dan intends to become a woman, identifying as Ida. Quagmire doesn't know how to react, feeling mostly uncomfortable and ashamed. Of course, Peter is completely unenlightened on the subject, and when the Griffins host Quagmire and Ida, he raises questions that are stupid and pointless related to the gender reassignment surgery.
But I did put a lot of planning into the meal.
Yeah, we went down the list. Nothing with wieners, nuts, or grapes. Out of respect.
After the episode aired, several LGBTQ+ groups, including GLAAD, raised objections, finding the episode transphobic. And it isn't hard to see why with the jokes made at trans people's expense, including a subplot where Brian is horrified to discover Ida is trans after having hooked up with her.
Oh, man, what do we call him now? We still call him Dan? No, and I'm not crazy about the name change. What is it, like Danielle or Dana? No, Ida.
Number 1. Peter and Lois Griffin debate matters of life and choice. You needn't look any further than the title of the episode to see the amount of sensitivity Family Guy was going to give this subject. To help out a friend, Lois becomes a surrogate mother, but due to a tragedy, Lois has to choose whether or not to continue her pregnancy. However, Peter becomes opposed to terminating it, and the issue becomes contentious.
Peter, what the hell are you doing? Have you lost your mind?
Don't you worry, unborn fetus child. I am here to save you and protect you. I have seen the light.
The episode has one scene where the Griffin family debates the ethics of terminating a pregnancy. And as to be expected, Peter's opinions don't contribute anything to the conversation.
What if carrying the baby to term would endanger the mother's life?
I don't know what 7 of those words were.
What if you look at the ultrasound and see that the baby's gonna be born with no arms and no legs?
You name it, Matt.
This episode is so controversial for the handling of its subject that it has never aired on Fox.
But you know what? It's one more person to share the world with. Another little voice in the back seat of the car. One more Griffin to love and to love us in return.
We had the abortion.
Okay, it's time to end things with a bang. Actually, make that a punch. Because WatchMojo's got the most brutally hilarious Family Guy fights for you. Now, warning, these aren't for chickens. Actually, some of them are. Well, you'll see.
I'm saying the Simpsons suck. Why, you...
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 Family Guy fights.
I don't like to be touched.
Only one of us is gonna walk out of here alive.
For this list, we'll be going over the best fight scenes from the long-running animated sitcom Family Guy. Number 10, Stewie beats up Brian. While Brian and Stewie usually get on famously, they do have their falling outs from time to time. One of the most extreme examples happens when Brian places a bet on celebrity boxing with Stewie.
Hell, give me $50 on Tyson.
He loses and owes Stewie $50.
Have the money by tomorrow and there won't be any problems.
Huh?
Yeah, 24 hours.
When Brian fails to deliver the cash, Stewie beats the absolute living daylights out of Brian.
Yeah, that's what happens, man.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's what happens.
The baby uses fire, fists, firearms, and more to deliver the pain. Honestly, this may not be so much a fight as a one-sided beatdown, but it's still incredibly memorable. And to be fair, Brian does eventually get his revenge.
When's the beating gonna come, Brian? Just tell me when it's gonna come. Just do something, anything. Look, I'll do it. I'll do it first.
Number 9. Peter versus Liam Neeson. Like a lot of intoxicated idiots, Peter thinks he can do anything, including beating up movie star Liam Neeson. When the two meet, the actor agrees to the bout.
Go ahead. Take your best shot.
Oh, no, Mr. Neeson, you heard wrong. There's nobody who respects you more than I do.
But Peter chickens out. Neeson forces him to perform degrading tasks to make up for his cowardice.
So what I need you to do is to go to a local gym and ask men to pee in your hands.
I don't see the connection there.
After his friends find out and he gets pushed too far, Peter gains the courage to fight the actor. He actually manages to get a few good hits in. But Neeson inevitably and absolutely destroys Peter in a quick and brutal manner. We guess that's what happens when you fight someone who's been recognized internationally as a tough guy since he was 55 and who scraps with wolves, just for fun.
I also steal small items from 7-Eleven.
Number 8, Cafeteria Fight. After Brian makes an insensitive joke on Twitter, the rest of the Griffin family becomes some of the most hated people in the town.
was just a joke.
There's no such thing as jokes anymore.
Yeah, we live in a post-joke world.
This eventually leads to Chris and Meg having more difficulties at school than usual. When a guy knocks off Chris's hat, the middle Griffin child retaliates with a lunch tray. What follows is an intense, fast-paced fight paying tribute to the church scene from Kingsman: The Secret Service. Chris and Meg straight up demolish many of their classmates in a variety of gruesome ways with fantastic and fluid choreography. And to think, their extremely violent kerfuffle started just because of an off-color tweet. Number 7. Stewie versus Lois. The animosity Stewie has towards Lois is a major running gag throughout Family Guy, particularly in the early seasons.
What are you doing? I'll teach that hussy to go on a boat ride without me.
While the hatred is usually one-sided, the conflict gets decidedly double-sided when the baby apparently takes out his mom.
What are you doing with a gun?
Something I should have done a very long time ago.
However, Lois comes back with a vengeance after Stewie takes over the world and becomes president.
Lois!
Stewie, your reign of terror has come to an end.
The Mad Mom bursts into the Oval Office with grenades and guns, lots of guns. Although the weapons mostly miss their targets, the action is still engaging. The two combatants keep things interesting by using everything from knives to a flamethrower. Ultimately, Peter's intervention leads to Lois coming out on top. But their battle was all a simulation. Despite being non-canon, the fight still delivered on seasons worth of build-up. Number 6. Stewie and Bertram's final battle. Stewie has several intense battles with his half-brother and nemesis Bertram, but our pick goes to their final one. After Stewie accidentally kickstarts the Big Bang during a time travel accident, his rival Bertram steals the time machine. The intelligent inventor follows his rival into the past.
I am gonna kill one of your ancestors, effectively erasing you from history!
Bertram intended to take Stewie's ancestor, Leonardo da Vinci, to an early grave, but our hero interferes.
Stewie! That's my name, don't wear it out.
What follows is a chase over Renaissance Italy in prototype flying machines complete with missiles? Let's not question this, it's awesome. Although Stewie warns Bertram that taking Da Vinci out will cause the universe's destruction, the diabolical infant does it anyway. In return, Stewie finally puts an end to his brother and punctuates the moment with a terrible pun.
Hey, Bertram, what's your favorite kind of bottled water?
Huh?
Mine's Arrowhead.
Number 5. The Griffin Family Battle Royale. After learning to use her inner anger for martial arts and getting into fights, friction develops between Lois and Peter.
Don't you use that tone of voice, you...
What were you gonna say? Fat ass?
Although their bout starts off as a verbal altercation, it soon turns physical.
You just hit me.
That's right.
Then their two oldest kids take sides and begin throwing hands.
I don't like to be touched!
It's not long before Brian and Stewie join in the melee as well. The whole family just goes to town, demolishing their house in their desperate attempt to beat each other down. Even their shared laughter over Peter's head getting stuck in a painting of a horse's backside isn't enough to stop their onslaught. Ultimately, they put the blame on TV. Maybe the family should stick to watching YouTube instead. Number 4. Peter versus Shelley Booth Bishop. After stealing a parrot, Peter naturally makes the logical choice to become a pirate.
Aha! there's me wench.
Peter, what the hell are you doing?
But rather than plunder the oceans, he and his sea dogs cause havoc on the land. Peter eventually sees a British man named Shelley Booth Bishop sitting in their car.
You'll never take my cargo!
When the newly minted pirate tries to attack this innocent man, a hilarious car version of a pirate naval battle ensues. We see cannons, a sail, and even a sword fight. The music, Peter and his crew's constant jolly laughter, and the general air of swashbuckling fun are all fantastic. All the random pirate elements make this one of the show's most lighthearted and enjoyable fights. Number 3, Peter versus Donald Trump. Oh boy, are you looking for a Family Guy fight that can't be seen as controversial or offensive? Well, you won't get it with this entry.
It's an honor to meet you, Mr. President. This is amazing.
After Peter starts working for Donald Trump, the cartoon president assaults Meg. This leads to an argument between the men.
If I screwed up so bad, how come I'm a billionaire?
Billionaire? Please, you're worth $700 million on the high side.
After Peter questions Trump's net worth, a prolonged fight scene ensues. The two fight all over Washington, D.C. We see the White House, Congress, and the Air and Space Museum all turned into impromptu fight arenas. Both combatants fight dirty, and there are a ton of great sight gags throughout their clash. As a hilarious button on their battle, they're both saved from certain doom by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Hey, call me if you ever need help moving. Trudeau, away!
Number 2, Peter Griffin versus Homer Simpson. This inevitable clash between two animation icons was endlessly entertaining.
Wow, you work at a nuclear power plant? What's that?
I don't know. Although they initially get along famously, Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin conclude their cartoon collaboration with violence. The duo throws down in an extended fight sequence that takes them all over Springfield.
Hey, knock it off! There's a kid back there!
I'm in danger!
They encounter familiar Simpsons characters, as well as iconic landmarks. Their fight even sees them gain nuclear superpowers and get launched into an alien spaceship.
Bye, thanks for having me.
The numerous gags referencing both shows, as well as the intense action throughout, make it a great fight. And while Comic Book Guy may have his own opinion of the fight,
worst chicken fight ever,
it's still worthy enough for our number 2 spot. Before we get to our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The Griffins versus an offensive robot. Politically correct? No. Weirdly awesome? Yes. Herbert versus Franz. We're not rooting for either, but the slow-mo is hilarious.
Hang on, Pills.
Yeah, me too.
We're fighting.
Where am I?
It's okay, we're fighting. Wake up.
Joe versus Peter, Quagmire, and Cleveland. Joe can really throw down.
Come on, guys, get him!
Peter versus Mr. Washy Washy. Street Fighter, eat your heart out. Number 1, every chicken fight. That's right, all of them.
Oh, yeah, and that nice chicken outside gave me this coupon.
I'm sorry, this is expired.
You son of a...
We honestly couldn't choose just one brawl between Peter and Ernie the Giant Chicken. Their fight across time and space might just be the best of all of their bouts, but we felt like they're all so great that they needed to be acknowledged at the same time.
Chicken gave me a bad coupon.
Clashes between Peter and Ernie usually start over some trivial issue before ballooning into epic confrontations that move from location to location. The grand scale of their fights definitely inspired the previous two entries on our list, as well as popularizing the presence of fight scenes in the show. Full of outstanding moves, great visuals, and plenty of jokes, the chicken fights are the best bouts you'll find on Family Guy.
I hope I didn't hurt you.
No. I'm all right.
Well, that's going to do it for this very special deep dive into the Quahog inhabited Griffin clan. Hope you enjoyed this special look back at Family Guy as much as I did. I've been Matt from Watch Mojo, and I'll see you next time.